Hey there, everyone. Welcome to the Bird's Nest Podcast. I'm Joe Donahue. Thank you so much for joining us. Night 2 of the 2025 NFL Draft in Green Bay, Wisconsin has concluded, and the Philadelphia Eagles entered Night 2 with 2 picks. They left with a player and a number of picks in Day 3 after trading out of the third round. So let's start with the player. With the 64th overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, this would be the Eagles' pick in round 2, the Philadelphia Eagles selected safety Andrew Mukuba, who comes out of Texas. So Andrew Mukuba is a pick that I actually liked once I started to learn a little bit more about him, because he definitely fills a need for the Philadelphia Eagles just position-wise, following the C.J. Gardner-Johnson trade that occurred during the offseason. There's a hole in that secondary, and Mukuba seems to be the person that's going to fill that role. There's early speculation at this point that this is Mukuba's job to lose. He spent 3 years at Clemson before transferring to Texas, and he was a ball hawk while he was there. He had 5 picks and 11 pass breakups in his senior year, which were the numbers that jumped off the page to me as I saw those. I think that this guy is going to really have an impact in the Eagles secondary. I think that he'll be able to cover a lot of distance. I think that he'll be able to get places quickly. He ran a 4.45 40-yard dash at the NFL Combine this year. So he's got the kind of agility, the kind of awareness that is necessary to be able to come in and make an impact in the secondary. One area that is a knock against him is his size. Mukuba is 5'11" and is 186 pounds. And I know quite a number of people who are bigger than him in those statistics. So that's definitely an area where there's a knock against him, but I think that anybody who has the athleticism, anybody who has the skill to be drafted in the second round, and certainly anybody who is able to have the kind of impact that Mukuba had at Texas, has the ability and has the potential under a Vic Fangio-led defense to be able to flourish in the NFL. It's just a matter of translating the skills and trying to find a way to overcome the size factor, because that is going to be more noticeable in the NFL than it was in college. So that's going to be something that we're going to have to keep an eye on. But the early speculation from the Eagles beat reporters is that this is going to be Mukuba's job to lose in the secondary. But we'll see what winds up happening on that front. Now, Eagles general manager Howie Roseman spoke to the media following night 2 of the NFL draft, and he indicated that Mukuba's probably going to start in the safety room, even though he has the ability to jump in and play nickel corner.
Well, I think he could do both those things, but he's going to start in the safety room, and I think that at the end of the day, we're looking to add competition to that position, but we really stayed true to our board at that point. We had a couple of guys there that we liked. We considered moving back. But we really liked Andrew and his play temperament and his play style and the tools that he had in his body and the mentality that he'll bring to Philly.
So then came the third round, and the Philadelphia Eagles had the number 96 pick overall, which was the last pick before all the compensatory picks started coming into play in the third round. But the Eagles decided to trade back a couple of spots for the 101 overall pick, in exchange for the Atlanta Falcons, who held that pick going into the draft, handing over a 5th rounder next year. So, good news for the Eagles. That's going to bring their projected draft pick total up to 12 for the 2026 draft. So they'll have plenty of options for how they want to approach that.
Rest up for next year Friday night, because we are working next year on Friday night.
But ultimately what happened is the Philadelphia Eagles wound up trading out of the third round entirely. They gave the 101 overall to the Denver Broncos in exchange for a number of picks over the course of the remaining day 3 of the NFL draft. In particular, the Philadelphia Eagles sent over the 101 and also the 134, which was one of the Eagles' fourth round picks, for number 111, 130, and 191. The first two of those were fourth round picks, so the Eagles moved around a little bit in the fourth round, and they acquired a sixth round pick, which the Eagles had none of going into today. So the fact that the Eagles now have options later in the draft, definitely something to be celebrated. There's speculation that this all occurred because the Las Vegas Raiders sniped up Charles Grant, who was somebody that the Eagles had done a little bit of all-season work with. But while that speculation was there, and we won't know for sure whether or not that speculation is true, Howie did elaborate a little bit on what was going through his mind and the mind of the organization when it came to trading around late in the third round.
When we're picking where we were in the third round, we're really watching the board, looking for opportunities to move up, and to kind of watching where it was and where we felt like there was an opportunity maybe to get someone who was a little bit higher on our board, and then the opportunity where there was a kind of sweet spot on our board. And as we got closer to our pick, we had a couple of opportunities there that we felt like kind of maximized where we were on our board, and getting the pick next year. I think we're going to be at 12 or 13 picks next year, and a lot of them in the first 5 rounds. So I think obviously that's exciting. Not saying that we don't have things that we don't want to improve on this football team right now, because we do. But we then felt like, again, the move down tomorrow gave us an opportunity in the fourth round here to kind of sleep on it and really kind of get our board set and ready for tomorrow. Having 6 picks tomorrow, a great opportunity to improve our football team on the third day. It's a really fun day for us. And we just felt like it made sense to make those 2 moves with where the board was at.
But overall, this is Howie's season, and one of the things that we have to remember as Eagles fans is that Howie and the Philadelphia Eagles organization knows their board, knows where they have players ranked, and has information that we don't necessarily have. And that's true of all teams. And nowhere is that more evident than the big story taking the national media by storm is the fact that Shedeur Sanders, quarterback out of Colorado, who was mocked in many cases in the first round, Shedeur Sanders has fallen completely out of rounds 1, 2, and 3. So if he is picked in 2025, he's going to be picked as a day 3 pick, which is, I'm sure, not what anybody had on their radar at all. Potentially one of the biggest slides that I can recall, potentially one of the biggest slides in NFL history. But that just reminds us that there are teams that have pieces, that have things, that have data, that have information that the rest of us don't have. And those teams are using all of that information to make decisions about where they want to put players. Those things happen. And while Eagles fans waited for hours for who was going to be the second pick of the night, only to find out that they just kind of delayed their bedtime a little bit, this is one of those times where we just have to trust that Howie knows what he's doing. And if you need any more reason to do that other than the last several years and the fact that the Eagles just won a Vince Lombardi trophy, all you have to do is look at Cowboys Twitter. Devin Caney of 94 WIP made it a point to point this out on X, formerly Twitter. If you look at Cowboys comments, the fact that they do not like how Howie Roseman is able to manipulate the draft to come out on top. Not every pick's going to be a winner, and we know that, but he has a reputation, and that reputation is well earned. And we just need to give him the space to operate, and we'll see how things come out once all of the picks have been made. But let me know what you think in the comments below. What are your thoughts about Mukuba? Who are you looking for the Eagles to pick on day 3 of the NFL draft? Let me know. And thank you so much to everybody for tuning into the Bird's Nest Podcast. You can support the Bird's Nest Podcast by liking and subscribing to Bird's Nest Media right here on YouTube, as well as by sharing to your social media pages. You can also find us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Amazon Podcasts, Spotify, and the Odyssey app. please visit birdsnestmedia.com for additional Eagles and NFL coverage. And if you feel so inclined to support us in a different way, you can find the link to our Patreon in the description below or at birdsnestmedia.com. Thank you so much for tuning in, and let's go Eagles!